All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash, the bonus to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone. Salutations to all the Akim, pushing his word with true sincerity and with charity. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father, whom the word and he calls God, and Jehovah Bahasham is in the name. Yahweh Shai is his son's name, with the word and he calls Jesus, and Rakah Kodash is Holy Spirit. As always, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the Israelites according to the Holy Scriptures, as well as the speckled bird, the scattered Israelite foreigners, scattered amongst other nations, whose outer appearance may seem to be of those nations to whom they've been scattered to, whose lineage through their father's line go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You are Israelites no matter what your appearance may seem to be. Hey, and now I'm the brother Yediah from the Great Millstone branch here in Chicago, and I'm back at another lesson. It's going to be entitled Revelation 9, going into World War I. You see, and when you read this chapter, it's giving you a brief history on the event that occurred in the scriptures, World War I. You see, we're going to start off with Revelation 8 and verse 13. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, woe, woe, woe. And woe is destruction. You see, it says, to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpets of the three angels which are yet to sound, man. And that's the first clue they give you. They tell you it's three woes. And what are these woes? Destructions, or great destructions, which are these world wars. Really quick, I'm gonna go to Revelation 9 and verse 12, because that's the second clue. It says, Revelation 9 and 12, one woe is past, and behold, there cometh two woes more hereafter. You see, so that first woe is World War I. So without further ado, let's get into it. There's Revelation 9 verse 1. It says, and the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. You see, and hey, this isn't talking about Satan fell to the earth and he was in hell. No, this pit, this bottomless pit, is referring to Europe. Europe being a desolate land in which they have to import a lot of their commodities and things to eat. It's a barren land. Therefore, it was entitled in the scripture of bottomless pit. And really quick, this 2 Esdras 5 and 24, and of all the lands of the whole world thou hast chosen thee one pit. You see, so these lands are also known as pits. You see, it says, in all of the flowers thereof one lily. So this bottomless pit is referring to as Europe. And that angel which was given a key was Kaiser Wilhelm II, in which he basically was instrumental. He essentially caused the First World War to happen. You see. But this a quick little background on him, or a little quick search. Also, one of his titles was the Supreme Warlord of World War I. It says, during the July 1914 crisis, Wilhelm's rash assurance of unlimited support to Austria-Hungary was a significant contribution to the outbreak of war. I believe we can go into the backstory of it. Basically, one of these Hungarian officials, someone that was next to rule, he got assassinated by, I believe, maybe somebody in Serbia or something. And that led to Wilhelm pledging allegiance and telling him, like, look, we're going to make sure you good. And this is going to read, it resulted in a world war. It says, he proved indecisive and ineffective as a war leader, and increasingly strategic and political power failed to the German high command. By late 1918, Wilhelm's presence proved an obstacle to peace negotiations, and forced to abdicate on November 9th, 1918. He was bundled off to neutral Holland, where he remained until his death in 1941. You see, so this guy, Kaiser Wilhelm, he's a very important figure in World War I. He essentially caused it, you see. Therefore, he is that king. This Revelation 9 and 2, it says, and he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, and that smoke is war. It says, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And now this is another excerpt. It says how the world went to war in 1914. On 28th of June 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir of the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife were assassinated by Serbian Bacterius. During the crisis that followed, Europe's leaders made a series of political and diplomatic and military decisions that would turn a localized conflict in Southeast Europe into a global war. You see, and that war sprang out of Europe. You see, that bottomless pit, that smoke. You see, and you got niggas today that they say, "Oh, we gonna go to war. You don't want no smoke with us." Just give it a little, a little cream. It says Austria's Hungary with German encouragement, and Kaiser was ruling. It says Kaiser Wilhelm II declared war on Serbia on July 28th. Russia's support of Serbia brought France into the conflict. Germany declared war on Russia on August 1st and France on the 3rd of August. Germany's violation of Belgian neutrality and British fears of German domination in Europe brought Britain and its empire into war on 4th of August. So this all caused that war to break out, that smoke arising out of that pit, you see. Revelation 9 and verse 3, it says, and there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power. You see, and those locusts that are being described by the Apostle John right here are referring to the planes that were used during this war. Those fighter planes, he described them the best that he could. And it looked like locusts, you see, as you see in the image right here. It says, as the scorpions of the earth have power. It's like it says, unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power, right? And in these planes, you had a 2-man plane in which the pilot was in the front piloting, and you had a man in the back that was on a gunner that tethered the plane shooting. That's that scorpion. That's that power as of a scorpion, you see. Now, this is a quick excerpt from this other article. It's from Red Baron. It says, if I should come out of this war alive, I would have more luck than brains. Manfred von Richthofen. Because, hey, it was a gruesome war. It says, World War I, the conflict that dragged pretty much all of the major powers in Europe, Asia, and America into total war. The carnage lasted from November 1914 to November 1918. An estimate of 9 million combatants and 7 million civilians died as a direct result of war. You see? And these planes that they were using, these were like a newer technology back then. This was like a whole new age of war, so to say, for that time. Revelation 9 and 4. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of the Most High in their foreheads. Nay, the Lord has certain men that maybe was fighting that war or father the elect, preserved from being, destroyed during that war. You see? But back to it, Revelation 9 and verse 5, it says, and to them it was given that they shall not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. It says, and in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. Now, it's a lot going on, but during this time period, it was a new age of war. You had new weapons, you had new strategies, and so forth. And what resulted from the trauma, the stress of war was a shell shock. You had a lot of these guys that was in that war, got half their face blew off and didn't die. Came back, was all mentally screwed up, and so forth. Touching on that, men shall not die, they shall seek death and shall not die. Right, the Lord had a different spirit on them back then. He had a spirit of fight on them, because it was more warrior times back then. But ultimately, going back to the point, a lot of those warriors also were wounded, and suffered shell shock, a lot of stress from that war. But this is another excerpt. It says, for the first time in history, nations were capable to inflict mass destruction against their enemies. Weaponry such as machine guns, tanks, submarines, and airplanes were readily available. The gallantry of armies riding on horses and holding swords gave way to unimaginable terrors of chemical and biological warfare and aerial bombardment. And a lot of the soldiers got shell shock from this, man. You go look at the photos of them. These guys are absolutely, out of there. You see? It says, and it's just another quick thing, because it said they shall seek death and not find it. It says it was 21 million people wounded in World War I. It says the total number of military and civilian casualties in World War I was around 40 million. So 40 million people total died, right? Or was wounded, right? It says there were 20 million deaths and 21 million wounded. So 40 million people got hurt, 20 million died, and 21 million was wounded. And I believe, just doing a brief search, they said in World War II, like over 60 million people died, But We're going to go ahead and jump down to verse 7. This Revelation 9 and verse 7. It says, and the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their head were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. Right, and these going into the shape of the planes, or those fighter planes, and then the pilots that were driving them, they had these headpieces on. Some of them had these headpieces on, not really a lot of the pilots, but this is a part of their apparel. They had that golden helmet. I believe it's called a picklehume with a plum on it. It was like a helmet or a headdress that they wore. Also a lot of the pilots, they wore scarves to protect their necks from the winds, and also to wipe oil that was buffering back in their face. So that's that hair. Verse 8, it says, and they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. You see? And this is some of the apparel that they had back then. So the Apostle John, he's describing what he's seen in the vision, the pilots. But this Revelation chapter 9 and verse 9, it says, and they had breastplates as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running in battles. And these planes back then, they were very loud. If you're hearing them like, I'm not really going. Hey, the brother Raleigh did a very good impression, but hey, they mimic, also they mimic the sound of locusts too. But they were loud, This Revelation 9 and verse 10, it says, and they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were their stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. And those planes, in the back of those planes, they had those, they were shooting, they had like machine gunners in the back of those planes shooting, This Revelation chapter 9 and verse 11, it says, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue have his name Apollyon. One woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. And verse 11 shows you that this angel was actually speaking of a man, this king, which was a Kaiser Wilhelm II. This is a quick Google search. It says, who was the supreme warlord of Europe in World War I? It says Wilhelm II as supreme warlord in the First World War, the Kaiser. You see? It says verse 12, one woe is past, and that name Apollyon means destroyer. And that he caused a lot of people, to die. His part within that war led to a lot of death and destruction. You see? It says, verse 12, one woe is past. This was the First World War. And behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. And I believe World War II kicked off like 30 years later, like around 1940, 45 to like 48 maybe, roughly. And continue on. Revelation 9 and 13, it jumps down to the end time destruction. It says, and the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the 6th angel which had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the 4 angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, for to slay the third part of men, going into the destruction, and ultimately a Esau Edom being, destroyed. The third part of men is Esau. It says, Habakkuk 3 and verse 12, thou didst march through the land in indignation, thou didst thresh the heathen in anger. Right. And then you have 3 classifications of men. You have the sons of God. You have 3 classifications of people. You have the sons of God, the Israelites. You have the sons of men, the heathens. And then you have the sons of the wicked, which is the third part, which is Esau. You see? It says, thou didst march through the land in indignation, thou didst thresh the heathen in anger. Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people, even for salvation with thine anointed. Thou woundest the head of the house of the wicked by discovering the foundations unto the neck. Selah. And that's the separation. You got the heathen. And then you have the chief, the wicked, Esau Edom. You see? Revelation 9 and 16. It says, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. That's going into the nuclear missiles, the final judgment. Just a quick one. This this Isaiah 9 and verse 5. For every battle, the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, like World War One. It was trench warfare. On ground, tanks, and all this different stuff, right? It says, "And garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire, coming from those nuclear missiles, those intercontinental ballistic missiles." This that's what that army of horsemen is referring to. Isaiah 13 and 4, the noise of a multitude on the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. It says, Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even Yahweh in the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. You see? So those are those intercontinental ballistic missiles coming from a far land, you see? Revelation 9 and verse 7, and thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. By these were the third part of men killed by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouth. Now, when you go into the design of an ICBM, you have the missile system, which propels or directs, the missile to where it's going, and in the front of the actual missile, you have the nuclear payload or the where the nukes are, where the nuclear bomb is located, where the warheads are. It's like and that's that mouth. And out of mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone, right? That's that destruction that comes from the front part. It says, by these three was the third part of men killed by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouth. That destruction that's coming to this place. You see? Right, you got the nuclear missile warhead, which is in the front. And then you have the guided missile system, which is in the back. This is verse 19. It says, for their power is in their mouth, right, that the warheads in the front, and then their tails, the propeller, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. The missiles, they resemble like serpents. If you see a serpent, it just slithers. Those kind of how those missiles, resemble. Let me see something really quick. Fiery serpents. Nah, it's all good. This Revelation 9 and 19. It says, for their powers in their mouth and their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents and had heads, and with them they do hurt. So a quick precept, Joel 2 and 3, it says, a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. Right, and you go and read Joel, this is going into the nuclear destruction as well. You have that fire devoureth before them, which is where those nukes are, and behind them a flame burneth, which is the missile guidance system. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness. Right, it says basically it's gonna make it desolate. It says, yea, and nothing shall escape them. Various precepts come to mind. The earth and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. It says, the appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people sat in battle array. And this is referring to those nuclear missiles, man. Those host of missiles. Because there's so many. It's all ye that been a bow, shoot at her. It says, verse 6, before their face the people shall be much pained, and all faces shall gather blackness. Right. And when these people, Yahweh Dazah, the men of the Lord, we're not here, and I'm part of that number, Yahweh Dazah, we not be a part of it, but these people, they're gonna, it ain't gonna be like, no, okay, let me get my last nutty or let me kiss my family goodbye. No, it's just gonna be complete people losing their shit. A good depiction of this is American Horror Story. It's like one of the latter seasons, but basically a nuclear missile. Everyone received a text that a nuke was finna drop, and everybody just got to losing their shit, and that's what's gonna happen, man. All faces are going to turn to paleness. It says, verse 7, they shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. Right. And they're going to get, nothing's going to stop the missiles, man. No nuclear defense systems. No Iron Dome missile defense systems. None of that is going to work. The Lord is going to be, it says, Revelation 17, the Most High have put in his heart, fulfill his will, referring to the nations teaming up and shooting missiles on this place. The will of the Lord is that this place get hit with those nukes, and therefore it will happen. You see? It says, before their so like verse 7, they shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march everyone in his rank, in his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk everyone in his path. When they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run up the wall. They shall climb up into the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. And no missile defense systems are going to work. You know? It ain't going to be no counter shooting the missiles down. No. This place is just going to be prey. It says, the earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark. And the stars shall withdraw their shining. Going into that destruction. You see? And you read down, I believe it says, but Yahweh shall be the hope of his people. You see? So in the midst of all this destruction, the remnant going to be praising the Lord. But this is Revelation 9:20, and the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, they repented not of their works of their hands, that they shall not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, neither it's like it which neither can see nor hear nor walk, neither repented they of the murderers, of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts. You know, because the great destruction is going to be a Babylon the Great. That's that lake of fire. There's going to be other people around the earth in which the elect is going to set in order, you know, as we come down from those chariots. You see? So this was just a brief touch on Revelation, the 9th chapter, a little one that was edifying. Call Halayim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakha Kurash, the bondage of the elders and the apostles of the great millstone. Salutations to all that I can push his word, true charity with charity. Shalom, Barakatham, wa above ball, Kwame Yasharala. Shalom.